You have landed on Island Money 365. I am your host, Petra M. Brown. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome back to the studio. This is Island Money 365. I'm your host, Petra Ian Brown, and today I have Rayan with me. Rayan!
I'm here.
So glad to have you in the studio.
Yeah, finally made it.
Finally, for goodness sake, finally. So let me introduce you to the people. So Rayan have a BA in media, film, and television. Currently work for NBC affiliate in Houston, Texas. He moved around a bit, which is good, you know. I'm still here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And is the owner of Graham Lens Studio. Is a freelance director, editor, and videographer. And you are a 5 times Emmy nominated, and you won 2. Did you win a Grammy or just Emmy?
No, Emmy. I won a Edward Murrow Award as well too with that, which is another different category, and stuff like that. So Emmys are separate. These just make sure people don't know this is not Emmy on TV, where it's under the same category, but this is Emmy for news, not Emmy for a daytime show or your favorite Chicago Fire. No, not like that. I would hope one day. Yes.
Okay, so you hear the difference. I didn't know the distinction. I was like, oh, Emmy, that's awesome. Oh, you got an Emmy. No, it's not the case.
I can, matter of fact, I can show you one while I'm here.
Yeah, show me your Emmy.
Here's one right here.
That is so beautiful. That is beautiful.
So the statue's right here. It tells you everything on it. Has my name, everything like that. So,
That's awesome.
The other one is in the corner, so
He's just in the corner somewhere.
Let me just put it on my shoulder so you can see.
It's just in the corner somewhere, people. It's like it's a door stopper somewhere.
Yes. I just usually crack the door. The wind is moving too much.
Oh my goodness. And you have been in the industry over 10 years shooting, editing videos, jump pilot work, and video operator. So glad that you're here with me today.
So am I.
So tell me, how in the world did you get started in film,
It's funny because somebody asked me that same question the other day too. We're working a new report at work, and he asked me the question like, how did you become a photographer? More for news, but I had to think about it. I was like, I've always had a passion and an understanding to know that I always watch movies. Like, how did that work? And that kind of had an intrigue, and was intrigued on how these things work. And when you see, Superman fly, how does Superman fly? So the technical part of it was always an interest to me. And going into school, I was like, that's some kind of communication. I didn't know exactly what it was, but doing research and stuff like that, okay, that's like the film industry. That's how things work. So when I went to school, I was looking at different schools to go into, and, but also, I lived in Bridgeport at the time, and money has to come into play. So I went to a school that gave me the most money. So that was fair. That was 25 minutes down the road, and I had almost a full scholarship, full ride, basically scholarships and everything like that was pretty much paid for. Didn't have to take a loan out until my senior year. I even had kickbacks from freshman to junior year. So that was kind of good. But went on to communications and thought it was communications that the film major was under, but wasn't. It was under its own different thing. So when I went there, I started a program. It was like a 20 course class, excluding your normal core curriculum. You learn about directing, you learn about screenwriting, you learn about preparation. That's 3 phases to production. Pre-production, which is everything you do before the day you start shooting, prepping yourself. It's like cooking. You prep your meat, prep everything. Cooking is production when you're cooking it. Post-production is your plating, your presentation. That's what that's kind of like. So I'll give you an example. And I learned that whole course of how to do everything. But during that time, I wanted to focus on something, and the camera was just something I like. I just like how you can show different ways. You can have a POV, a point of view of the camera of the person that you're shooting. And then editing was another thing that came into play, which I kind of took a step back a little bit from, but camera was just my main focus, and directing was part of that. So that's kind of how that started. But to summarize it all, it was just an intrigue. I was intrigued by how these TV shows work, how things work. And I had in mind, I think I know how they did that. So that was just a small seed that was planted.
How did it get planted? Just by you watching movies or something? Or were you exposed in any way growing up?
No, there's no exposure. There's nothing around me to. It was just something that I, you see, for example, see people playing music. Oh, that looks cool. I want to learn that. But just for me, my mind visually, I've had a creative mind. Like I was always good at art. So for me, I'm like a liberal arts person. Like learning in school, I was always a visual learner more than auditory learner. So like for me, I see things. I was like, okay, I want to know how it works. So I want to physically do it. So for me, learning these things in school was just like, okay, but now I need to practice. I need to physically do it. That way it becomes a motor memory, a habitual action I'm doing every day. And just watching the movies, I just like action movies. Like, oh, how did that work? How did they do explosion? How did he jump out of the building? I'm like, and as a kid going to yeah, the person die on TV, but like you see the person in another movie, it's like, how did that person die in that movie, but he's here? So like those little simple things attracted me. And I was like, I want to know more. So that's how I started doing work and I started doing, like research on things and like I want to go into that field. But it's hard to get into that field. It's one of those not come first serve type of thing. It's like who knows you situation. And you also got to do a lot of legwork to go into the film, into the major production stuff that you watch on a daily basis on TV, like your favorite TV shows, your favorite movie star and stuff like that. That's a lot of legwork and that takes like hours of non-family time. So I had to curve myself a little bit of like, okay, what can I put myself through? What can I do to get there? And it's not settling. It's like, okay. The realization is like, okay, well, for you to do that, you have to sacrifice so much. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself, your life to get there? You might not get there, but what can you do in the meantime to do that? So I'm still on the track, but I'm learning to say, you know what? I don't have to go that big. I can work with corporate companies smallly. I can make videos for them. I can do this. I can edit things for them. I can do drone work. I can do all these other things that still meets the same criteria and build my resume. Sometimes that might lead to something else. I have a mentor guy I talked, he lives in LA. He shot the last season of The Walking Dead on AMC network. He shot another thing with the Chandra Rhimes and Lena Waithe on BT and that other show, The Shy. Those are different TV shows and stuff that he's worked on as a DP, a director of photography. So, or cinematographer, different titles for the kind of work you do, just more fancier names. But I talk to him sometimes like, just keep working, like do a PA job, like the small moment you get, capitalize on those and just keep pushing, make a reel, constantly try to challenge yourself from what you see, try to replicate certain things. If you don't replicate it, you will never be able to expand and learn something new because you never tried.
I like that. I like that. And see, even you have a mentor, right? It's important. I tell people all the time, it's so important to have a mentor. Few, actually, because you have different mentors with different field of study or different areas. And it doesn't have to be in your industry.
Yeah.
Because people have a wealth of knowledge and all those knowledge can come together and, create and give you that step or the pathway to your success. So I'm glad you mentioned mentors. And like, how did you come to this mentor?
I actually worked with him so there's on a small production, well, actually it's a big production company. My school, Fairfield University at the time, was rebranding their admission videos and stuff like that to entice people. So they were rebranding those things. And this guy came from California at the time. So he was the main person that the production company that the school hired, they hired him. So the school hired the production company to rebrand. The rebranding company hired this guy, David, to do the camera work, basically. So while being there, like I was like, I knew the camera was my passion. They had people who were doing editing, the coloring, because they color the video of what you're shooting. So all these people working simultaneously together. And then there's an editor at the end, and then there's a director, there's producers. But I stuck with him because I was like, okay, I want to know what he's working on. I want to know what camera he's working on. I want to know how that camera works because we don't have that at school here, but I want to learn that. And I don't know, you always have intentions like, can I network with this person? That's another one, networking. How can I network? And the crazy thing about it is I stuck with him and like I was learning a little bit of stuff here and there, but just the exposure of being there just like kept that euphoria going. So, okay, like I'm excited. I'm excited. It's like a kid waking up the next day. He wants to go on his trip, but he never slept that night. So like I worked with him for like 4 days that time, and
Uh-huh.
I just kept going and going, and I became with him, and we exchanged emails, and I think we were Facebook friends for a while. And here and there, I would have said like, "Hey, how?" Or he post something. I was like, "Oh, hey, I liked it," or I was like, "Hey, I like that man," but never talked to him. He gave me his number, which is a funny story. He gave me his number. It's like, hey man, if you're in LA area, whatever, just let me know. And when I moved to San Diego, he was like 2 hours away from me. And we communicated, but between him giving me his number on Facebook, I did not contact him for reach out to him for 2 years to the day. And I don't know. I was talking to my friend. I was like, you know what? There's that guy I was talked to before, but like, I know he does stuff and I see the things he posts and I'm like, that's kind of cool. And I was like, he gave his number, didn't he? So I went back and I was like, his number is literally right here in this message. So I texted him, I was like, hey, David, it's me, so and so from back in the days. And he was like, oh, yeah, man, I remember you. And like, we talked on the phone for a while. He introduced, like, it's like, dude, like, go to your small mom and pop shops, like the barber shops, those little places. Like you see now, like on Instagram, all these other places, everybody's doing those little reels of people, or even kind of do volunteer work for people. Like, hey, I'll shoot your free promo video for 30 seconds. Because what that does is exposure. And even they might get paid for it, but they'll put it on the Instagram and they will do hashtags, and that trickles and people see that. So now people are seeing your work for free that you're putting on your social media and putting out there that people are looking at. And then you don't have to do the hard marketing. It's the Instagram and the marketing for itself that you're putting these things out, and people like it, people share it, people post it. I see things, I'm like, oh, hey, did you see this? Look at this camera, Aaron. Look at this trick that he did. That's kind of cool. So just those simple things of your interest, expands it on the people, seeing people share it all the time. You never know somebody gonna hit you up and say, hey man, that was kind of pretty cool. How much does it cost to do this? Or like, I'm looking at a project, and even ask for advice sometimes. That goes a long way. So to backtrack a little bit with David, we talked and he just kept giving me advice here and there. And like, at one point, like he even told me, he's like, is it worth the sacrifice? When you have a partner and you're married, sometimes it's hard
Yeah.
because, especially if you're in two different worlds. I work in the news, film industry, in television, where sometimes if I'm in industry, I can be gone for 2 months, 3 months on a project working on the next Michael Bay, Scorsese film, whatever, or I'm shooting for 3 months on this new television show for season 5 of, Chicago Fire, or season 5 of House, or whatever it is you're working on, so you can be gone for a while. And are those sacrifices you're gonna miss with your kid? Because he said when he was in Atlanta in the middle of COVID, it was hard getting jobs, but he had a job there. He was working on the last season of The Walking Dead, and he was like, my kid was going off to college for his sophomore year, I think, or senior year, and he's like, I miss him going off. It's like my wife was there. She works in industry too, but she don't take nothing more than like 2 weeks, but she does like makeup, like special effects makeup. So at least he has someone in his field that kind of understand the rigor and the process and what it takes to be in that field. So you have to be open to that too. Is that something you want to go into? That's why some of these people are solo, because just the work that they want to do, they know that they're not going to have the time to be a family person as much, or be, to share their time basically. So those are some of the things he taught me, to say, hey, just be careful of what you're doing. You don't want to mess up what you have if you're not willing to go down that road.
Wow. That's very good advice. That's very sound advice, and somebody who has been there. So let's get back to Fairfield University.
Yeah.
We both know Fairfield University here in Connecticut. First of all, you got into Fairfield University, right? So, and your upbringing, like when you thought about college and where you want to go, and you realized, okay, I have to go to college to accomplish this, was it like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Because, let's tell us about your upbringing, your money story, and then your dream and how you thought, how is this possible?
So in high school, like I said, I had the mind process of wanting to pursue that. And I looked at schools near, far, but internal family is like, oh, probably stay close, because family is here, you can do this. And, like when you're that close to family and you never been anywhere, and like my upbringing, I came from Jamaica and I was in Connecticut the whole time. I just went to Connecticut. Like I just knew everybody I knew was there. But you want to kind of venture a little bit to go see different things, and you want to do things. And the thought of like going to a junior school, like, get your associate at like a local community college, there's nothing wrong with that. But I never found a school that I can say, okay, I can do an associate's or I can pay less money at an in school college and not a private institute or, whatever to get what I need. And I didn't think that was necessary because I was also thinking of how can I network? How can I branch out? Where can I get internships from? Where can I get these things from? Because these are things I looked at and say, these are how people got their jobs. Because I've watched videos on people, how they got their start in the industry and what they do and what the rigor takes. So in high school, I thought about those things, but I also ran track, played football. So those are all the options as well too. But I said I had to make another hard decision because I thought about University of Miami. I thought about Morgan State, and these are in Florida. Morgan State is in like Maryland. I thought about like Stony Brook in New York, even UConn. And I had to sacrifice certain things and say, you know what, I have to do what's best for me and what I want to pursue. I can't let naysayers stop me from that because whether they've never accomplished that or they don't have the mindset to pursue that, I had to do what's best for me at the end of the day. I said, I have to do these things. If I don't do it, then I'm going to sit here. What else am I going to do? So when I applied to,
Wait, let's get back. Hold on,
yeah,
I'm not interrupting you about
yeah.
naysayers. Tim, what were the naysayers? What were those about?
Like, like be like, okay, are you sure is that what you want to do? Like, because they're ignorant to the fact that no one knows this industry. No one ever done this industry. People are just used to what they see around them. So their environment molded them. So it's like, do you sure you want to go that far? Are you sure you want to study that in school? How would that, are you going to get a job coming out of that? Because no one know what the job entails or how it works. So even like when I first came out of school, when I first started working at News 12 in Connecticut, it was like I was freelancing. But the thing is, like my boss liked so much, I was working like almost every day. Like I was, because my work ethic, the way I put in, the effort I gave, and just my understanding of like knowing how things work. He would call me, he's like, "Hey, come in today. Come in today. Coming." So even one year, I worked 28 days straight due to snowstorm because I would just work. And he's like, just keep working. Whatever you want to do, just work as much as you want to do. But just, hey, say you can still say no. So he just knew my work ethic. And then people was like, oh, did you get a full-time job yet? What are you doing? And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Sometimes you have to freelance or sometimes you have to volunteer or sometimes you have to do certain things to get exposure for it to be done like that. But I'm like, I'm still getting paid. I'm not getting paid like a full-time person, but I'm working as a freelancer and I'm learning the process. And after that, I became part-time. Then I was working like on the weekend editing shift and I was doing different things. And remember the company got sold and I was able to learn what I know to move to Vermont for a little bit and from Vermont to San Diego and I worked at two different stations in San Diego and now I'm here in Houston. But just if I listen to those people that says, don't go far, don't go out there, you don't know anybody out there, what field are you going to get a job? Are you going to get a job in that field? Like how does that work? Because they don't know the process. They've never done that. They've never seen anyone that do it to say, okay, you know what, I know someone that have done that before. Okay, I understand it a little bit. They have never been exposed to that. So for them it was a little bit sad to say, like, they don't believe in your dream. So that was kind of hard. And like no one believed in your dream. So I was like, okay, it's not that I'm trying to prove them wrong, it's that that's what I want to do. That's what I chose to do. And I understand that like it may not work, but that's a step that I have to take. If I don't try it, I would never know.
But would you say they didn't believe in your dream, or would you say they didn't understand? Because
It's a mix of both. They didn't believe it because they never saw it. They never understood what it's like. It's like, oh, I give a camera, I'm just gonna hold a camera. And then even when I got, oh, a job easy, you can just hold a camera. Like, no, the environment I'm in, I'm outside in the cold -degree weather. Like I have gloves on to protect my hand, but I can't use the glove. The gloves are too big to press the buttons on the camera to create the shots I'm doing. And people, oh no, you can just use your phone and make jokes, but it's a jokes is sarcasm. So it's kind of downplaying what you do, and that they don't believe what you do until you start like getting a little bit of recognition. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, you're doing that, yeah. Not to be like they've been behind the whole time. No, you were never there. You were never there the whole time to uplift me. So I had to motivate myself.
Mm,
I had to motivate myself. And like I said, your environment molds you and kind of make you who you are because like if you listen to those people because they've been stuck in what it is that they were in or they never pushed to go beyond what they know because they're scared, it's a scare factor. They're scared. They have fear of the unknown.
yes.
So because of that, like people want you to kind of mold back here. So if you're in that environment and people keep you here, you're going to think like, oh my God, I can't go over there. It's not that the grass is always green on the other side. It's just that people are fear to take a leap, to take a step because they don't know what's there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
walking and you're blind because they can't see.
I like that. But how do you think that being an immigrant and migrating, your upbringing, how do you feel like, your immigrant story propel you to just keep going? Because as immigrants, we're fighters, we're overachievers. I mean, we're always adapting. So how did that motivate you to be your own self-motivator and to get through this industry that you know nothing about and had no introduction to or help to get into?
It's a hard one. Like you said, the self motivation, because you come from another country. When I first came, I didn't know anybody here. But, you're going around, you meet people, went to church, you know people there, they may not know anybody, but like it's just that family orientedness that even sometimes some of the family was just like, oh, you sure, you sure, you sure, because they came from Jamaica and they just used to what they do. Whatever work they used to do there, they try to find a job, something like that, which I get because you just got to a new place. So whatever you're familiar with and your skills are, you want to do that. But I find like sometimes they tend to be stuck in what it is that they're doing and never branch. And that's hard because if you never learn to move beyond what you are, you can never excel.
Mm,
There's opportunities out there for you that you could have, so you're getting paid $20 or you're getting paid $12 an hour. You could have an opportunity that you could have been getting 15 where you could have been level up. You could have probably went back to a little school if you're capable of doing that. If you have the knowledge and you're capable of reading and writing to that level, you can excel yourself. And, the thing about it, no one had been in their corner to motivate them. And in Jamaica, your job selection are probably limited.
mm-hmm.
So coming here where there are more opportunities for you to learn and coming here at such a young age, I was able to absorb so much more and going to school to see that there's more than just, I can get a job. I can go to a training center in Jamaica and learn to be a bartender or a hostess and work at a hotel and stuff like that. Or if you live in like Kingston, you can go to these other schools to learn about, be math teachers or stuff like that. These other jobs that are paying that you can make a career out of that is different than what you expected before. Because something you don't think about, like, okay, who's actually making these shows? Who's actually doing these movies? There's hundreds of people involved in one single episode that you never even think of. So many people. So I had to continue motivating myself every day and push that negativity behind me because I was my own cheerleader.
Same over here.
I had to motivate myself. Yeah. It's hard because you have a vision and people cannot see it. And
They cannot see
because they
it.
cannot see it, they don't understand what it takes and they don't understand that it can work. And yes, the possibility in your mind is like, okay, well, this may not work, but you have plans set. Okay, well, you know what? I'll pursue this for a certain part of time. You set goals.
Mm.
If you see your goal is coming through a little bit, you keep pushing towards it until you said, this is my time. I gave myself 5 years to do this. If this is not working 5 years, okay, but what did I learn from that process? Maybe it was something you need to tweak along the way, and then you saw a pathway there, but maybe you was doubting yourself a little bit more because I want to stay on this path to make sure this works first. If this doesn't work, then I can go back to that. And then doing that process, you have to like see what is working and constantly tweak what you're doing because it's a continuous changing world because you're on one path. What you're doing, your goal that you set for 5 years may not be the same industry in 3 4 years. So what can you do to curve yourself to follow the trend and keep relevant and keep on the same path where you're still pursuing that? And that's why your goals always change. And that's why it's always good to network with people because if you meet somebody, I said, hey man, this is my thing, this is my contact. If you ever need anybody, if you ever know anyone that needs such and such, like I'm always willing to help, just shoot me an email, shoot me a call, whatever it is, I'm always willing to do that. And you may do it 100 times. You may pass your business cards out to 100 million people. It might look diminishing sometimes because you might get no call back.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I've given out so many cards. I've gone through sets of 500
Yeah,
and like crickets,
crickets.
but I'm still so
Ex-
enthusiastic giving them out. I'm like, here you go.
exactly.
I'm a financial coach. I'm a financial literacy educator. I can help you get your money right.
It's gonna take that one person because a lot of time the biggest way sometimes of communicating and with people is word of mouth. That's free. Word of mouth is free because you have to pay for marketing from whether you're talking to a firm to market for you, you paying for ads on I don't know YouTube, Google, Facebook, whatever it is you're paying all these different things. You're going to spend money on cards. You're going to spend money on this or but when you do work for somebody, it shows that they like your work and how your work ethics is. If you show that and people appreciate that, that works. I've seen it happen for me. I went back to San Diego in March of this past year, 23, because I worked with a lady there and I did like a family tree project for her, where her mom had passed away and her kids, she's an interracial family, her kids never get to know her grandparents or her side of family as much. So her husband talked to her in-laws, her husband's parents, of like what their family is like, how did that come about, and then trickle down to the kids and just have them explain the whole things from grandma and grandpa, like because they know their parents, they know their grandparents. So how did five generations of family come to be where I'm this little girl at 5 years old? So when she get old, she couldn't watch that to continue to learn about her family. And from there, that lady recommended me to a friend that she had and I was able where they played my I said, hey, this is my budget, this is what I can customize for you, this is what's gonna charge. I said, in order for me to get there, $500 for my flight. And I could just said you have to fly me out, whatever. I just said, okay, 500 should be good enough for a quick round trip for that one day to get in and get back out. Because I also had other obligations on a daily basis. I have my kids, I have things to do in my job. So I'm sneaking away from my main job, which if I take a time out, I know I'm getting paid for a sick day to go and do that. And I can make a quick buck to still use that as a reel to add to my repertoire of my portfolio of like, okay, I have these things. These are things that I have done that I am capable of doing. What skills am I capable of? This is it. This is it. Events, family trees. I can do drone work. I can do editing, some kind of special effects or certain things. Like I have to continually build myself and continue to motivate myself every day. Because if I don't, I'm just gonna like see other people's things like, okay, well that person is doing that. Okay, I can't do that, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna pursue it. No, I can't do that. You're gonna self-destruct yourself because it starts here. If you start thinking something, whether or not it's correct, like you have a little argument in your head. What the argument is done. Oh, I should have said that because that would have won the argument. No, no, you're gonna self-destruct because the moment you start thinking that, you're planting a very bad seed in your head. That, okay, I'm not gonna be able to do my job because all these other guys are doing these CGI stuff and they're doing this, and I can go. No, that's where you look for things that you're good at. Work on those things you're good at. Look on videos on YouTube. How are people doing that? People have videos on YouTube. This is how I do this. This is how I tutorials on how they did certain things. If you can learn that and practice a little bit, it takes time, but you eventually get there. You just have to continue building on yourself because you are the foundation. If you do not trust yourself and build on yourself for yourself, there's nobody else going to do it. People say, oh, yeah, great job, great job, great job. But in the day, it's just a word of mouth. Like, how are they physically investing in you as you are investing in yourself?
Very good point. Very good point. Let's get back to your youth. How would you say, what were some of the obstacles you have faced pursuing your career? And did you think there's a difference between, the Black Americans versus you being an immigrant? Like, were there some differences there?
Oh yeah, definitely for one. Like being a black person, your skin color automatically sets you back 4 or 5 steps. If you are a black female, that even set you back 6 more steps beyond that. Because, there's a category in which it's a invisible category that people look at and there's a list of things. They prejudge you. They see your name. What is your name? Okay, that name sounds like it's not a John, it's not a Tom, it's not a Bill because your name says certain things and that's what people look at before seeing you. So you put your application on a certain thing. Oh yeah, they're gonna push you back. They're gonna push you back. So for me, I had to, genuinely be myself, but be overly nice, be overly expressive, but yet still maintain who I am and just network with people and just say, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay, never give up, but keep moving. Because coming here as an immigrant, like I didn't know none of these things and what this career was like. But every day I go, I start learning more things. Oh, I like that. I want to pursue that. Okay, I have a mentor that tell me a little bit of things. He's been there. He's done that. So that little information he's given me, I'm applying that to myself. And I'm changing. I'm morphing a little bit because okay, he said that he had to sacrifice so much. I don't want to miss
Mm.
kid's first T-ball game. It might be a possibility, but when I sign him up for stuff, oh yeah, I'm there. I'm gonna make sacrifices on my career and to show my kids that I'm gonna be there because my dad wasn't at every football game I was at. Maybe he's been to three or four for my whole high school, but he was working. But that's something that I'm saying I don't want to do. I don't want that to be me that he wasn't there for those moments. No, I'm not saying that, oh, like it was bad that he wasn't there for like all my games. See other parents did, but he had to work more than he should to make sure he had food on the table. I want to be able to work and also be able to go to my kids' softball game, go to my kids' soccer game, go to this. Because those moments, your kid gonna come up with, oh man, I love that my parents were there. Like, oh, my parents sacrificed certain things. They may not understand it now when they're younger, but when they get older and they start living their life and growing up and understanding and more rational, they'll definitely notice you put the effort in. And at the end of the day, that is what the main reward is on that end. I just know that I had to work harder as a black person coming from the island because, like I said, I'm set back 4 or 5 steps because I'm a black male, and other people have just by how they look, they already have one up on me because of what they are. And sometimes a lot of them, when I went to school, these kids are driving Mercedes. Everybody, pretty much 90% of the population at that school was white, if not 95% of that school was white. People come from New Jersey, they're coming from Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, and they're all coming from, it's a white Jesuit school. So all these people are coming from all these other Catholic schools, their parents have money. One girl, dad was playing for the New York Mets. And in orientation, she had another friend that she met, and she told her dad, I want to be freshman year, I want to room with that. The school was like, well, we already pre-selected. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to withdraw my kid. Knowing they're getting that full $55,000 cash from this man and not through scholarships or other venues, they worked that out and make sure they did that because that's just how certain things are. If I said, oh, no, that is not going to happen. You get to ring him around every day when you go through admissions. Hey, did that scholarship come in for me yet? Hey, have you done that yet? No, is there an opportunity? Is there any other scholarships for me? No, sir, this is what we have. This is what we know. So you have to find other venues of that. It's like
Mm.
sometimes you're looked down upon because of just who you are and what you can produce. And they don't believe that you're capable of doing that sometimes. As much as you're smart, they just say, okay, he's a one-off person, but still we can't sprinkle too much into those other people. We can't give too much of that because they're fearful at the same time too. Because they're fearful you're gonna mess up what we have here. You're gonna try to change our culture. It's funny because they ask, "What can you bring?" It's one of those questions on college application. What do you bring to our environment as a college student? That was my personal essay. Who I am sets me different than any other black person, or any other male that go to that school. I had to genuinely be myself and
Mm.
push myself further and just believe in myself more to say that I have obstacles and I have a lot of adversity that I'm facing and it just have to keep going.
Mm.
I just have to keep going. I can't fail. I can't fail because I always think, what am I going to do if this does not work? What am I going to do if it doesn't work? I didn't have a lot of obligations then, but just coming up, like, no offense to people because every job is important, but I'm not gonna say, okay, I have to go work at McDonald's or I have to go, get the carts at Stop and Shop or other grocery stores. I respect those people, and some of them may not have another option,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure that my first option work, have a second option, maybe a third. If the second one is not looking too good, you start planning it. So that's why you start changing yourself. And this is why it's good where I started networking. Because once I was at school and I started working with that guy, David, that was the opportunity for me of thinking, like, okay, I can get it production assistant job with other people. I keep connecting. I did that. I made sure I had references from people. I always had like, yeah, who can I call up on? Who can I, and not just looking for them for my self gain, but I always say, hey, if you need anything at all, let me know. I'm always here to help. You have that network where it's a buddy system. And as much as they may not say hoorah, hoorah, but they could be in the back for you, cheering for you because you're that referral, because of who you are as a person. Are you willing to be yourself, or are you just using it for personal gain? And I had to continue motivating myself every day of keep going, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. You don't know anyone that ever been in this field. You don't know anyone that is doing this job, but you are a Black person on Fairfield University campus that's learning about television and film and media and editing and how that works. I had no one to call upon to besides people at work I am at school with. But even then, people have their own little groups or own little cliques. I still had to find out things for myself. Still had to keep pushing every day. Still had to keep pushing because what am I going to do? I can't ask my parents for help. They don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about film. The phone, yeah. No, that's not it. There's so much more that goes into it. There's so many jobs in that market that you can do, but at the end of the day, it is not always going to come down to what you want. So you have to continually change, not your perspective, but just work yourself and mold yourself to what the trend is that's going on, because now on these social media, everybody want a vertical video. I always tell people, when you shoot video for news and you give it to us, set your phone to the side. Do landscape mode, because this fits on that computer or that TV screen better than this. When you do this and you post on the editing system, the sides are black. When you do this, it fits the screen. But now everyone has one of these in their hand, and how do they hold it? Like this. So when they hold it like this, what are you looking at? Looking at this phone up and down. So now all these people are shooting their video. Here's one of my cameras. Instead of doing this, everybody wants their video to be now like this, vertical. So what are companies doing? They're adapting and they're changing their format in their cameras to be vertical or horizontal. So it's a changing game. The TikToks, everything is on your phone that's accessible. So for me to continue doing job, everybody's asking, oh, can you do a vertical video? Can you do a vertical video? They may not understand everything about it, but just me knowing how the codec works and how editing and stuff works, I have to also keep myself on what the trends are to know that these are what people are looking for. So that's my adaptiveness. I have to adapt to that. Am I willing to go there? Am I just going to, oh no, I'm going to be traditional. I'm only going to do this and this and this. You can't be stuck. There's a mold, but you have to clay and mold yourself a little bit and change it here and there and just keep going with the punches. That trend will eventually wear out after a while, but are you capable of doing it? Yes.
I like that. So I know you said, you're just talking about the obstacles that you had to face during school to get in the industry, because most of the people that you're with in school, they already have parents who are in the industry or have friends, or parents have friends that already give them exposure, and you're coming from scratch. You're like a blank board, like your whiteboard, right?
Yes.
There's nothing written on you yet. While they have experiences, or probably sit down and watch their family member, editing videos from really little.
Or just even the fact of they have resources, right? I mean, I had a desk at my house, but I had to learn to use the computer and stuff like that. I was trying to teach my dad a little bit to learn the computer and stuff like that. So, older folks, bing, 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 instead of, the physical typing.
That's my mom.
So it's like, the ding, you got to do the one finger. So just those simple things, they never had one. They didn't even know how it works. So you have to now be the person that's teaching your parents of how these things work and teaching your other siblings of how these things work, because they never seen it. And that's sometimes the way you kind of win them a little bit, or gain a little bit more trust and a little bit more positivity in what you're doing from them, because you're teaching them something. And sometimes what I've learned in a small little job I had of direct marketing, walking to people's doors, talking about different products, is that older folks and people who are settled do not like change. They are settled in it, and that's why they do not like change. But somebody has been living in the house for 30 years, they don't want to move. They know the process of how it is to move. It's a new place. They don't want to, they have to now learn this. They're packing up all that stuff. They don't want that. People have their cable provider, they have their phone, they have an old phone. I don't want to change my phone. Your phone is outdated. You can't. You don't have no more storage on here. It's falling apart. They don't make that phone anymore. Software is not working. I like this phone. It's dying. It's the battery can't be fixed. You can't place it out. They don't have beta. They don't like change. So with that, that's why sometimes people are very fearful and reluctant to expand the horizon. But knowing who you are as a person to say, you know what, I have to keep going because I believe in myself. And as much as they might think differently, at the end of the day, I gotta know that I'm not gonna change that just to suit them. Because if you suit the people, you are only following their dream. And what is their dream? Say right here, just do what I've been doing for 30 years. And that not to say that that's not a bad thing, but if it's a job, it's a job that's paid well. You choose one. They said if it's not broken, don't fix it. But if you see that it's wearing, you can hear when the car's like a little bit. It's not broken yet, but just go. It's about to do something. Go get it checked out. Right?
Check. Your light is on. Go get it checked
go
out.
get it checked out. So you gotta make sure.
I like that, but and I think of that quite often because, as you said, I have my financial coaching business and I have the podcast Allen Money 365. But I feel like some immigrants, especially the older immigrants, the reason why they're so stuck in the way is because when they first come here, they're surviving, right? And it's about security. It's about finding a place you can provide for your family.
Yes.
But they seem to forget that the reason why they migrate in the first place is to give the family opportunity. So know that you sacrifice and, maybe that fulfill your dream and you stay in one place because of security. Guess what? Let the kids go, right? That's the whole reason you came here.
Yeah.
Is to give them the opportunity. So let them figure it out. Let them, try these different things and not be like, oh my God, you need to have a pension. Oh my God, you need to have, a secure job that you won't get let go of. It's okay for us to fail, even though we feel like we can't fail, like as immigrant parents, right? We feel like we can't fail. It's not an option. But at the same time, we need to have the opportunity to know that, what, give yourself some grace. You're going to fail and learn from those opportunities. Like, what's your view on that, right? It's the same.
You hit the nail on the head. You summarized everything in those 4 sentences. Like, yeah, they came on a survival tactic basis, like coming from another country, And I mean, sometimes, you might think it's like, oh man, people in Jamaica, they ain't paying no rent. They have their own house. They already paid for it. They built their house and they ain't paying no rent. And so like, you think that you got to pay for rent. You got to pay for car note. You got to pay for car insurance. You got to pay for light bill. You got to pay for water bill. You got to pay for dirty water, clean water coming in your house, going out of your house. You got to pay for a plethora of things. And you start calculating how much you're paying for the month. And it's like, I got to do that next month and the other month after that. And that kind of scares you sometimes. But when they come here, they bite the bullet. And then my grandma would say, economize. You got to economize. You got to, make sure that you're not spending this much money and that much money and, do what you, and I was like, you know what, that is true. So I do keep a lot of the things, I do keep some of the stuff that I've been taught as like, I have a savings account, like, have Mr. Rainy Day funds, in the corner, like, I don't put no money in the mattress because, the house is here might burn quick, but just those simple things of have, try to have a 401k if you can, do you want to do Roth? Like learn about those things because they may not know that. Just, oh yeah, I have a 401k or pension, depending. Some jobs don't give pensions. Some jobs just match what you match in a 401k. You can also invest in your company and use that stock. There's all different things you can learn, but that's the thing that they sacrifice to come here. So you can learn those things and apply those things. And, if possible and you're willing, you can help them to set their money aside, depending on how old they are, what they want to do. And that's the way you start helping your other family members. But their survival mode is what they came here on to give a better opportunity. And who am I to let that opportunity go to waste? I can't. They may not see it. They might just think, oh, continue doing this because you're secured a job. But there's a possibility that I can become a manager. I can do this. I mean, depending on what you're working at, you might be able to franchise and they might have you as a manager at a new store or somewhere else. And you could be a traveling trainee because you mastered their product and you're capable of teaching new recruits how this product, there's so many other possibilities, but we're reluctant to see change and we're reluctant to broaden our horizons because the fear of I have to survive. and I have to do this and maintain this and this only. It's like we have blinders like this, and we don't see nothing over here on the side. Like, it's just here. This is it. It literally is. So you can't see the perimeters on this side. So you have to like take them blinders off a little bit. Okay, the sun is here. The sun on this side. Okay, like okay, don't want to go here. Super bright. Okay, let me kind of just get a little bit of fin here. Let me go on this side a little
Go
bit
under
to
the
learn a
orange
little
tree
bit
and get
about
some
that.
and get some
Get some
shade.
shade. You have to. You have to. It's a continual revolving wheel, and it's the same thing. I mean, we learn trends over time. If you think things, everything rotates. There's a period where, like, I was learning it in a class in college.
Yeah.
It was like a mix of anthropology, economy, and philosophy class all in one. It talks about like coinage, credit, money, coinage,
Mhm.
credit, money. Those rotate for the past how many thousands of years. Everything now is like we're in the what the US dollar is strong, with the US dollar is falling.
What's interesting?
With all these other world power countries used to have power before, how was it? It was all about credit.
Mm.
It was all about coinage. Okay. That's where all these different things came. Okay, I'll do this. It's like the system in Jamaica. I have a tab. Okay, this is your credit. Are you gonna be able to do this?
Mhm.
That change, yeah, that change to money. And before that, that was coinage. That was people would barter and trade.
Mhm. I
People
remember that.
barter and trade between those days, and it became okay. They started learning shells. This I want that
Mhm.
apple. This apple is worth 6 seashells. That's they start doing
Mhm.
that. The
Mhm.
coin started coming in. Then they start mining
Yeah.
the physical resources in the earth. Okay, this is so. This is gold. We think these are valuable. My value is worth this, and you should give me that because I think this is worth that. Now everything goes to dollar. It's the dollar, and then now it's everything going back to credit, and it's going back and go back to coinage again. It's a rotating wheel
Yeah.
if you think of how history plays itself.
Yeah, I remember those days. My dad used to send me to the store and say, go get a go to Miss Sutton and get a pound of flour for me, and
Yeah,
tell her me pay her later.
but yeah,
Friday I come, me pay.
Friday I
I
come,
go get
Friday I
the
come,
bread from the
maybe
shop and
yeah,
come. Just tell me something, get your bread man and
yeah,
come man.
yeah. Don't forget the condensed milk, like you know those little simple things. I knew I had it.
But
That was me. That was me in school. My dad's like, okay, tell Miss Nanoon that I'll pay her on Friday, so you know you get lunch for the week.
oh my gosh, how times have changed, right? But I like the fact that we've been talking about just self motivation. This was this episode just about self motivation, perseverance, no matter what, if people believe in your dream or not. So, for the next one word of wisdom for the next generation that is migrating here, or the first generation born after our parents migrated, whatever, the next generation, what do you have to say to them? Because I say we all have to struggle. We're all going to face it, right? Because our parents just don't understand, and they love us. They want the best for us, but they also want us to be secure and safe. So for the next generation who are pushing to do something different that is not known in their world, what's your one word of advice for them?
Ah, one word. That's
Two.
one word is. I have
What's
to
your
dig.
advice for them?
Yeah, I have to dig deep for that one. I have to go in the bag but I think I would say have dreams, have goals, never let anyone turn you away from those things. And some of the time, you're going to have to be your biggest motivator and you're going to get knocked down. But it's how you get up and how you stand and how you face that other punch that's coming to you is how you're going to keep excelling. Because the more you get knocked down, is the stronger you become. You're going to become resilient against those things. You're gonna fail,
Mm.
and I'm not trying to be negative, but your things are gonna fail. Whether it's a big fail or it's a slight fail, you will fail at certain things, but never give up on what you set forward to. Setting goals, networking, constantly networking, and constantly setting goals. And be open to change. Be open to change. Those three things, being open to change, setting goals, and networking will get you a very, very long way in your life, whether it's a career, whether what is your life, just life goals. You talk to people, whether it's for a job, but talking to someone every day just lighten your mood. Say, hey, good morning, so and so. Hey, how you doing? You never know who that person is you're talking to. You never know how that person might affect you. You might be down one day, and that person might just maybe to cheer you up, might be the turnaround you need. You never know. And it's just saying just going to look for it because somebody automatically come in, sweep you off your feet and help you in the situation. But just a word of advice sometimes, they would help you. I remember one time I was walking out of school and I said to myself, everybody I see, I would say good morning to. And I was walking, I said, good morning, ma'am. And she was like, oh, good morning. And she's like, how you doing today? And I was talking like 5 minutes. She's like, you know what? I appreciate you stopping and talking to me because I appreciate that. Like, as much as, people see me and I'm a professor, people never really talk to me and think I'm a person. I'm just here grading their papers. And I was like, yeah, sometimes it's the same way for us, like, how do you professors know us if you never get to know us because you just see us a number on a paper and just go like, great. It's like, that is so true. Like that perspective is so strong because not everybody think the same way, and you're not gonna maybe get personal with everybody, but you stop and every time I see her after that, hey, so and so, hey, and that little thing brightens your day because you just have another thing. You can always go to this lady later on and say, hey, you know what? I've been doing such and such bad, like, is there anything I can do? And he or she would, because you had that rapport and you build that relationship and you built that network with her now or him or whoever it is, they're more willing to help you because they kind of see who you are. They're kind of getting a glimpse of you. They're willing to help you when they know something about you than just, hey, miss, I'm here for your office hours. What can I do? Okay. The syllabus says if you need extra work, just check this website. Okay. But when you can put a face to a name and know that goes a long way. But so never be fearful. Set your goals. Be your biggest cheerleader. When you get knocked down, it's how you get up because you're constantly going to get stronger the more you get knocked down. Never let people change your mindset because of their fear. Never let people put their fear and let their fear become your fear.
I love it. I love it. So what is one saying that your parents always use on you growing up? We have a lot. That's one. And then we're closing on out, people.
I'm trying to think. There's something in my head. I'm trying to think of like, I'm getting stumped. They're there, but they're just not coming to my head right now.
Rayan, you should have a lot of them. You're Jamaican too. You should have a lot.
So like, yeah, but I mean, that's sometimes that's the best because you think about it too much, and when you do write down or know what you're gonna say, when you do ask it, it changes. It changes it. So, I guess it's. Maybe.
I put you on the spot. That's what happened when I don't send, because I don't send pre-questions. So,
and there's one I remember that's kind of line the same line. Oh my God.
Me throw one. I'll throw one and then maybe drag your memory. So, my daddy always said, "Was sweet nanny goat running belly."
Yeah, something like there's that one, and then I said it the other day. It's like the little pig said to mom, like, "Mom, why you know so long?" It says, "Grow up," because you're not there yet. And you don't understand because you don't have these responsibilities. So once you start getting your responsibilities, once you start growing and you start understanding what the stakes are and you start knowing what you have to do as a parent and as an adult, you have now why your nose have grown. That's the reason why you have now matured. And you're now going to that state to understand like my nose is longer. It's out here so that when I'm sniffing around, I find out things, it's not going to affect you as a person. And then there's another, like, we always see, my grandpa used to say, we always see. He's like, I know a dog that the dog name was We Always See. Like, it's like, we all will see when it comes to the light. Like, so don't lie now. It will come to the light. We always see that dog, we always see.
No lie now. It will come. All right, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming through to the studio. And I know you've been doing amazing things. You have worked on at NFL games, you have worked on NCAA championships. You have done so many wonderful things and got wonderful experience because of your work, but it wasn't easy getting there. But I'm so happy you shared your story with us and motivate those who are listening and know that even though you're coming into a new country and you might be struggling, it might seem impossible, your dream is possible, but you have to be your number one motivator because everyone is not going to have the same vision as you. It's all right. So until next time, remember, keep your money IRA. Thanks, Ryan.
IRA. One love, big up people, everybody.
Wait, hold on there. My beautiful people, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. We are here every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Also, the information for our guests can be found in the show notes. So what are you waiting for? Wanna subscribe?